I got to get caffeinated for this one. You know I had to early start it. Still in my pajamas, boy. How we doing, Lions? We doing all right? Previously on Kimba TV. All you know is what is not arguable. You know where they opened. You know how much they opened. You know how much is still open. And you know when they become trapped. Just go with that, man. I just understand that somebody fucking longed 12 million at the first sign of resistance. So that's kind of goofy. Do you still have your long from Friday open? Nope, close the whole thing. I'm in a little bit of a short, scalp short. Maybe at the gap, I might go long again. But yeah, if you remember, we were looking exactly for 106 to 107, if you remember, to short. So yeah, we'll see what the reaction is. I got to do some of the levels. So I figured I would eat breakfast with you guys, drink some coffee. I've got more coffee brewing. Let's do all these levels real quick. Obviously the gap is there. Settlements around there too. So, yeah, if I were going to long, I would probably wait for it to fulfill. But settlements around here too, so we can do some lines and figure stuff out. What you guys doing? What y'all doing? What y'all doing? Vano, Vidal, Amir. Did the CME automatically yes, yeah, the CME. I hit my TP on the all-time high. But yeah, I'm not higher time frame. I don't know if it's bullish or bearish, so we're gonna have to see the reaction of the gap and then RTH obviously. But yeah, I don't have any. My Friday longs are not. Nor TV says Sunday was crazy. Yep, but expect more craziness, my boy. Dasses, did you get filled on that peanut thing? No. What's going on with peanut? Oh. Peanut, bruh? Hold on. It's kind of, damn, boy. Yeah, this kind of feels like you might be able to do this, right? Like that to that high. What is the RR on this? 663. I know this isn't the best starting point, but I'm just curious. Maybe. Fuck it. Maybe this is okay too. I don't know. That's your stop loss though, no matter what. And then I would also think about this too. Let me get some coffee in before you hit me with these altcoin questions though. And let's do some Bitcoin levels. But yeah, maybe. Matthias says whiff approaching the zone. Damn. Y'all are really on top. Oh yeah, it is. Yeah. Y'all are really on top of these altcoins. Yeah, let's see what ETH and RTH does. All right, let's do some levels, shall we? Obviously, the all-time high moved. And then 102. Wait, let's get some music going. What do we want? What do you guys want to listen to? Oh, we didn't get to listen to this. Let's listen to this while we wrap this up real quick. Okay, so EQ. Yeah, I think we're good here. You know, you already know what I'm talking about here. Hi, why is there 2 CME BTC gap when in ETH mode? I see 1. Just volatility. Yeah, you can ignore it though. Yeah, it's not really a gap, just volatility. Sometimes it'll do little mini things like that. If you want, what you really want to do is just go to like 4 hour or 6 hour. Just go to a higher time frame, then there is none. So just extreme volatility, brother. All right, if you go into like the 5 minute, you'll be like, oh my God, there's so many fucking gaps. Nah. Oh my God, there's so many gaps. No. Yeah, so it's not really there. Hazy says, sorry, came back. I asked twice, but is ETH analysis same as BTC? What do you mean, Hazy? The conceptually, it's always the same. So Hazy, first things first, what you got to learn how to do is identify levels to the upside and identify levels to the downside. Okay, Hazy says failed auction part, you tell me. So pull up ETH CME. You tell me. So this was the high, right? Did it do a failed auction? That's a swing fail pattern. All right, Hazy. So I don't know if you're even ready to do TA, to be honest with you. I think you got to learn first, Hazy. Yeah, so identify levels. Do you have the CME all-time high marked? Yeah, so if you do, then you tell me, how could that possibly be a failed auction? Do you know what a failed auction is? That's a swing fail, a shallow swing fail pattern. Wazzle says, do you think the bad lows from weekend are getting swept? Well, I mean, if you look, all of this is bad. All of this is weak. So yeah, it can't lose this line. Yeah, it can't lose this line. Yeah, it can't lose 100. Yeah, for me, first place I would think about longing settlement. I mean, I think that's a no-brainer. Maybe, yeah, so I would just go with value. So, and confluence. So value area high and settlement, and then value area low and EQ, and then that point of control is maybe the last level of support. Or, yeah. Yeah, so those are the maybe 3 places where I would TP the short and think about longing. Astro says, yeah, last point of control would be a nice place to long. Yeah, but it has to snap back in like this. Otherwise, we'll probably get all of this cleaned up. Yeah, and it'll probably go quick once this support is lost. So, yeah, for me, I'll see what the reaction is like here and here in the for now, in terms of like the 2 closest levels that I'll be seeing the reaction for right there. I mean, obviously the whole gap really, and then right there. Choo. Chab says, do you want it to fulfill the gap completely because it's settlement down there, or there is another reason to fulfill it? So if you guys remember, Chab, this is like memory recall. If there is a settlement that is near a value area high at the gap, it most likely will close the whole thing, and it won't be necessarily bearish. Now, it would be more bullish if you didn't fulfill it. But the probabilities when you have value area high and settlement and it popped out of it, most likely it's going to get fulfilled. The probability I would say is like 65%, a little bit higher than 50. All right, so let's see. You excited to see what happens? And then it'll be your responsibility to remember that shit next time. Capiche? But yeah, value area high and settlement like that, most likely it's going to tap that settlement high, very high probability. Venom says, what are possible invalidations for whiff long? So invalidations is either that level, Venom, or I would think of it the other way. Instead of automatically thinking that the long is good taking it and looking for the invalidation, look for possible validations and only take it if it really is bullish. So for example, Bitcoin better be bullish, Venom, because if this thing is nuking to 82, I don't know if you want to long any altcoin, you heard? So I think, and then like this is FOMC week, right? So you already know what I'm going to be prioritizing as the #1 confluence for anything. Isn't it Bugamas and S&P? Yeah, so if you're gonna long anything, I would, make sure that you think S&P is bullish and Bitcoin is bullish. All right. Tazeru says, but if CME goes settlement, what would that put BTC USDT at? Difference of 1K? Yeah, something like that. I mean, you can see what the difference is. You're just gonna have to correlate. Yeah, take a look at where the value area high is and where this structure is. You see this rounded top? It's right there. So, see this? It's about right here. All right. Jupi Gucci Shiba, yeah. Math is math, boy. Well, we got an early start today. We still have 40 minutes until U.S. markets open, so I'm gonna just keep drinking more coffee, chilling. We have our levels set. Trades are, juicing. TA complete. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Exclamation rewind should be up. Discord VIP is starting to pop off. And do I have everybody's blessing for a quick little morning Latuche? Happy Monday, motherfuckers! Flatter B says, what if we don't even tap the gap? Isn't that pretty damn bullish? Yeah, if it doesn't tap it, then it is, yeah. So how would that RTH gap look like? How would you anticipate that? Does the data suggest that that's what's gonna happen? Remember, Flatter B, you're not in the business of trying to predict the future. All you have to do is look at the data and you try to figure out if it's a better or worse probability than 50-50 that what you think is going to happen. The price can only go up and it can only go down, right? So everything by default is 50-50, right? And so all you have to do is correctly assume or conclude if something is higher probability or lower probability. That's it. All right? So instead of saying, what if we don't tap the gap? Have a plan for if it fills the whole gap, have a plan for if it's a partial fill, and have a plan for if it doesn't fill it at all. If you've done that, then you're done. I've done that. Have you? Does everybody have a plan for if it does a whole gap fill, if it gap fills and continues to go lower, a partial gap fill, or it doesn't even fucking tap the gap at all? That's it. And we just read the data and figure out if we want to execute those plans if those things start to play out. So we got 35 minutes until U.S. market open. I have a, do you want to see pre-market boot gammas one more time? I have an idea of what, maybe the first 5-10 minutes could look like. I know how I'm going to interpret the boot gammas once this changes in about 50 minutes, like 10-15 minutes after U.S. markets open, boot gammas are going to close. So I'm going to be able to take a look at the pre-market boot gamma and then the post-market open boot gamma and then assess, and we'll figure out what we're going to do. So we got RTH, and we got ETH, we got levels and structure, and it's kind of all laid out. But just remember, Flatter B, have you been around when I've been talking about the RTH high and I kept saying, yo, that's bad? Have you know that, like, can you see it yourself? I want you to be able to see it yourself. Do you see this? Is that a good high or a bad high on RTH all-time high? Real trading hours all-time high. You know that that's bad, right? Awesome. And then look at the ETH all-time high. You know that that was a poor and weak high, correct? Right? And so I'm already talking about shorting if this gets swept, right? Do you understand, Flatter B? Right? That's the all-time high. Now, take your all-time high and put it on the RTH high. Okay? And you know what's really cool? I talk about this I start talking about this December 5th and 6th when this high was made, right? This is December 5th right here. Okay? So that's your RTH all-time high. Okay? Do you remember what we've been talking about? It's either going to do a swing fail, a failed auction, or a 3 drives. Everybody understands what kind of bearish structure I like? It's the first one that I like is a swing fail. The second one that I like is a failed auction. And the third one would be a 3 drives, right? Okay, so what does this look like, sir? Remember, these charts are synced, okay? This is the RTH all-time high, okay? We're gonna look at it on the ETH. Look, what does this look like, brother? And you know what's crazy? We've been talking about this since December 5th, okay? What does this look like? This is the RTH all-time high. What does this look like? So if you're like in a long, for example, right here, and you don't think the gap is gonna get tapped, What do you need to do? Not only do you need to get above here, you need to get above this VWAP. You don't want to bearish retest and confirm on a lower low that it made a failed auction. This failed auction hasn't confirmed yet. Why? It hasn't done a bearish retest and it hasn't made a lower low. The failed auction is confirmed when it does a lower low structure change. Alrighty. So, yeah, so it's nothing, like, I'm not surprised at all at any of this. It's just, I feel like it's doing what it's supposed to do. So let's let it do its thing. If you're bullish, it can't confirm a failed auction, and you got to get above VWAP. Very, very simple. But yeah, at a bare minimum, Sarah, there's a couple of concepts that I want you to take away from. One is, I will never let a green trade turn red, and you should never do that either. Sounds good? So if you know what my entry is, and you should, if you rewind and get caught up, and if we're already past my entry, you don't even have to ask me if I got stopped out. 100% I got stopped out because I would never let it go red. All right, and you should never either. All right. The next thing is trust what you see. All right. So every single time I'm in a long or a short, the last couple of months, and the RTH gap goes the other way, I immediately close it. And most of the time, I'm actually chasing that play. You know, so I was already in a long here, but this was awesome, right? I had to flip short here. I had to flip long here. All right. So, yeah, definitely, you know, and it's a probability. Sometimes there is a gap like this, and it goes, but then it closes it too. All right. So even if you do long, you got to put your stop loss at break even. All right. So next time, Sarah, there might be a scenario. And if you want, watch the highlights for this day. You know, if you find another day like this, watch the highlights for that day and kind of go over how we reacted to it. So even if you get what you want and you get the gap that you want and you market smash long, you need to put your stop loss at break even. There's no guarantee that it's still going to keep going. All right. And you're still going to have to factor in things like S&P confluence. All righty. Sarah says, thanks, Kimba. Thank you very much. I know it took a lot of time. Sorry. No, you don't have to apologize. I hope it was juice. I hope it was juice, Sarah. All right. And the way in which I trade is really, really simple, Sarah. I identify levels. So if you saw my Discord post from last night, and if you've been listening for the last couple weeks, 106, 107K, we've been talking about that level for quite some time. I love structural edge. So if you see something like this, you should already assume that I'm in a short. Okay? Just like how if you see a gap like this, if I am in a short, 100% I'm closing it. It's just a matter of where I got into the long. I had to chase the long here, right when it broke VWAP. Okay, I'm a big, because I would be thinking to myself, did you hear when I said bulls need to turn VWAP into support? And have you been watching me talk about, well, you can either wait for a bullish retest or you can just market smash because your stop loss is the same anyways. Have you been able to hear me say that almost every fucking day the last couple weeks? So, and did you hear me say that everybody should have a plan on what to do if it doesn't gap fill? We talked about everybody should have a plan if it does a full gap fill. Everybody should have a plan if it does a partial gap fill. And everybody should have a plan if it doesn't gap fill at all. And I said I had my plans. All I did was I just executed that. I literally said what I was doing. So I don't know if you got to hear all that, but I would assume that if you didn't long, it's either lack of preparation and planning, and you did not do what I said, which was everybody should have a plan if it doesn't gap fill, and or you don't trust the math. It's one or the other or both. Would that be fair to say? So, you know, today is a juicy fucking day, because how awesome is it to really kind of go over these things before FOMC? This is exactly what I mean, Sarah, but by everybody should have a plan. If it doesn't, and you know, all the 4 scenarios that I gave. So some people might have market smashed long as soon as RTH had a gap like that. And I was here when I pointed that out. And how crazy is it that it does a bullish retest on the all-time high? You have to kind of think about that for a second, right? We were looking for a bearish retest for the short to work out and to have this. You opened like this. It's like an instant bullish retest, basically, brother. This is like an instant bullish retest. Okay. So, and it's crazy because we talk about this every day, every month, or, you know, and every couple of weeks there's like, you know, somebody that needs like a little refresher, but yeah. So does that make sense? It's always the higher time. It's like the concepts that I want you. And that's why I was telling the other homie too, like, you got to be prepared. Alrighty. But I'm pretty sure that I verbalized and articulated and asked all of y'all, make sure you guys have a plan on what to do if it does a full gap fill, a partial gap fill, or no gap fill at all. And I thought everybody said yes, 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 I'm prepared. And so either you truly were prepared and you trust the data, or there's something that you probably could do better if you're not in the long, and that's okay. You know, but at least everybody gets to see that and for themselves and adapt. Juicy day. Juice! Are we mathing? But yeah, Sarah, although we could go to 107,500, although we could go to 109,500, although we could go to 110,000, and you might be thinking to yourself, fuck, it could be a juicy long from here. That is not trading. That's gambling. You are gambling that it's gonna go to 107. Don't do that. That's not trading. Trading is about managing risk. If you are going to gamble that it's going to go up from here, how much are you willing to lose for that gamble? That's what it comes down to. And do you actually have a better probability than 50-50 that it's gonna go there? It might go there. All right, but you got to protect your capital. You are potentially going to lose capital in the hopes that you're going to be able to get a higher 107, a higher price. All right, so sometimes, like, yes, it'll continue to go. And do I expect it to go to 107? Sure. Yeah, but I don't want you to think that you're doing the right thing by getting a long here. If you really wanted to long, what part of this did you not want to long? What makes you want to long now versus you not wanting to long here? What do you have that you can trust here that would be better to trust than this? What do you have up here that you are trusting that says you should take a long versus something like this? This is way more easy to trust, is it not? Yeah, does that help? So it sucks, right? Like, and even though I expected to go higher, I have no problem telling you, bro, longing at the 886 is not something that you should get into the habit of doing. Okay? Juice, come on. So I want, and it has to make sense, because when the bullets start flying, that's when we really know what's in your brain. You know, it might sound hella obvious when I say all this shit, right? And I say this shit every fucking day, every fucking week. RTH, gap and go, gap and go, gap and go. You know, but when the bullets start flying, can you actually understand what's going on? And it really starts with being prepared. You know, when I said, is everybody prepared for if it doesn't do a gap fill? And everybody said yes. What was the preparation that you had? Could it have been better? And that's really what we all are gaining today. So for me, for it to have been bearish, I needed this line and I needed VWAP to be resistance. Okay? And obviously, if it breaks through it, then the most conservative way in which you would take a long is a bullish retest. However, the last couple of weeks, I feel like we've talked about this. If your entry is going to be on a bullish retest and your stop loss is here, why not just market smash, pay the market fees, and guarantee that you're in the position instead of wondering for the probability of the bullish retest? Your entry and your stop loss is exactly the same. The difference is the nickel and diming that you're doing between getting limit filled for no fees and market smashing. But your entry and invalidation is exactly the same. So do you have enough confluence, something that you can trust to actually do that and not wait for a bullish retest, and or be okay to sit through a bullish retest? Because your stop loss is in tiny profit, you'll get stopped out and you'll re-enter. It's for two Bitcoin. I think we're okay. But the math is the math though. Look, I don't give a shit what he's doing. All I know is, on a scale of 0 to 10, what do you think about the whole, my next level of resistance is 107.5, 107.6, on a scale of 0 to 10? Forget Sato for a second. Bear like. Beitayo, on a scale of 0 to 10, my boy, regardless of if it gets turned into support or not, okay? What, on a scale of 0 to 10, what do you think about, okay, when we get to that level, what kind of structural edge am I going to look for? All right. What on a scale of 0 to 10, what was the thing that we said? Have we gotten it yet? Can on a scale of 0 to 10, what do you guys think about the patience and waiting? Okay, on a scale of 0 to 10, what do you think about being able to look at the open interest and understanding, is it in my favor or not?